Welcome to the channel, and today we'll be talking about the Erztich Mania, which was sent out by Erztich, and they're not asking me to say or do anything other than my honest opinion regarding these headphones. And I actually did an impressions video of their Talia earlier on, and this kind of goes hand in hand with that one, to be honest. And these are kind of TLDR, sound wise are something else, and build wise are going to be a very big hit or miss depending on what you're looking for. It's a very DIY build kind of deal. So let's dive right into build and comfort and all that fun stuff. All right, so build wise, I mean, they're solid. They got this fiberglass kind of top here, and it's a lot of wood, a lot of metal. The pads on there are, I think, like a pleather, like a pleather kind of deal. And they also have inside here this kind of doubled up neoprene looking or vinyl, like a vinyl head strap to kind of help protect and give a little bit of suspension to the head strap there. And overall build is kind of that industrial DIY look with that nice wood bits there. And then the actual faceplates are actually very well made and very nice, and they feel nice. There's no rough edges to them. The band here, or the kind of where it connects to the cups here, is, it has this nice rough like paint to it, like a rough finish to it, and it's on purpose. Like the paint of it is there, and it's solid. Like these things aren't gonna, you know, uh, break on you. I don't think they're very well made, and I think probably very well easy to replace the parts if anything does get broken. Probably easy to kind of fix that. And kind of a unique feature is he actually did with the hardware, actually matches the hexagon look of the cups there, which I think is kind of a cool look to them as far as the aesthetics goes. So yeah, build is it's well made, very well made. It just has a very one person built this kind of feel to it, a very DIY feel, but a very highly polished DIY feel to it as far as build is concerned. And a lot of respect for that. He's put a lot of work into this and effort, and he has a nice wood polish there to it. And like I said, the faceplates are actually quite excellently made. And diving into the comfort of these, they are very light and they sit on the head very easily. A little bit on the loose side, but not something I really overly noticed. Initially, it's kind of like it feels kind of like it's just kind of resting on your head there, and it's not something that's I don't know, there's not much clamp there, which is actually really nice, but it doesn't feel like they're gonna like just fall off your head. But if you were to move around a lot, it does. They don't really have the best clamp force, but you're listening to music, so you shouldn't be running around, jumping up and down with some over ears like this, anyways. So as far as that goes, the comfort is light, and once on your head, it's kind of they disappear. They're not very invasive that way. There's not much pressure there. I didn't get any hot spots. It's very mild, and the strap's fairly large, so it kind of spreads out that weight that is there fairly evenly. And yeah, so comfort was pretty good. I will say that the pads that are used do get a little bit on the non-breathing side because of that pleather, so that can be a little bit uncomfortable at times depending on how hot your room is or warm your area is, that kind of deal. And also the overall circular nature of the pads and the size of them. I did notice with my ears specifically that it did touch a little bit, so it wasn't on ear, but it did definitely touch my ears, and for some people I know that can be problematic, so take that into account. But overall comfort was definitely a solid, easy to get along with, and it didn't bother me greatly at all. And as far as aesthetics go, I think it's gonna be hit or miss for anybody. Like anything aesthetics, it's all very subjective. So I find them to be appealing in their own right. It's not necessarily my favorite aesthetic, but it's definitely warming up to me, and I can dig on the style of it. And I actually really do dig on the faceplates on these a lot. They actually have a really cool aesthetic. I'm actually, the more I like listen with these and look at them when they're sitting on my desk, I do dig the faceplate a lot. Actually, going back a little bit, the cable that it comes with it's fairly nice. It's a little bit janky at the bottom end here. It's a kind of like a plastic sheath that he uses. on there, so it does kind of hold its shape quite well, and it's kind of stiff, so it kind of moves around with wherever you go, and doesn't really like flop. It kind of has like a general like stiffness to it, but other than that, it is a very solid built cable and does the job, does it well. And yeah, so that's build, comfort, and aesthetic for the Mania. And let's dive right into the sound of these, which it took me a while to try and figure this out. But right off the bat, I would say these are very punchy, dynamic, and the low end has this really nice punch to it and dynamicness to it, and it isn't overly warm, I wouldn't say, but it does have a nice layer of warmth there. The mids have uh, a nice presence, and the detail and imaging is where it really kind of comes through in like the high end and the mids is like it's crisp, like in a good way, and I use crisp a lot. And what I mean by crisp is like the imaging is very clean and has a nice separation without it being overly exaggerated, or it sounds naturally crisp. Like, so if you were to listen to like a hi-hat, or someone with a little bit of a brighter voice, and they can cut off the sound rapidly. It doesn't have that longer decay where it has like a nice sharpness to it in the sense of cutting off the decay, and the imaging separation is fairly well done, and it doesn't have that exaggerated fake image separation like say some planars will present. And the highs were same kind of deal, very clean and lovely. And honestly, man, like the sound that comes out of these it's very shocking how good it sounds. These are fantastic sounding, and it took me a while. I was trying to figure out. They reminded me of another headphone for the longest time, and I've been like scratching my head trying to figure out which headphone it was that these reminded me of, because I haven't heard the headphone I figured it out, but I haven't heard these in a long time. The headphone it reminds me of, and it's the OG Clear. Like the OG Clear is what these remind me of the most. Like that sound signature. I wouldn't say it's a one to one or anything like that, but that sound signature with maybe these have, I would say, a little bit bigger stage, and um, a little bit more detail and imaging, a little bit maybe just from memory, so take it for the grain of salt. But that's what I was getting from these. I was getting like that OG Clear vibe off of them, which I was really digging on, because the OG Clears are one of my all-time favorite headphones, and one of the ones I fell in love with the audiophile headphone world was with the OG Clears. So yeah, take that for what it is. And like I said, it's not one to one. It's just how I like the sound, the signature that I was kind of vibing with or getting from these was that. So yeah, so that's the Erztich Mania. And as far as sound goes, I'd say they are, yeah, pretty fantastic. And my overall kind of thoughts on these are, um, I guess, like a con for me, like the biggest con I have with these, to be honest, would be the pads. And they are easily replaceable. You just pop them right off, and you can, find a reciprocal, or go on like Amazon, or find a company that sells pads that would match the shape and size of these. I think Tacony, or you can probably find anything on Amazon that would match it. I tried my ZMF pads, and my ZMF pads were just a tad bit too big for these. So take that for as a informative. It did work, and they did actually brought in some different flavors to the sound signature. But overall, the biggest thing I did not like about these was the pads, and it didn't really change the sound. It was more of just the comfort and feel of the pads. So the sound wise, they didn't really have a factor. Yeah, so that's my thoughts and impressions on the Erztich Mania. They are, as far as sound goes, probably one of the better sound signatures I've had the pleasure of listening to. And yeah, and since the OG clears are pretty hard to get nowadays, or relatively, I'd say this would be a good alternative to that sound signature, something you're looking for. So yeah, all right. Cheers, everybody, and catch you on the next one.